Hello and welcome to French class. Today we'll be taking présentation. Now, presentation is what happens when you meet someone new. You want to tell them a few basic details about yourself, like your name, your age, where you live, and where you come from, and possibly your profession. Now, some basic verbs are also necessary in presentation. Now, we're going to have some things written on the board to help us in this class. So now we have some things written on the board. As we said, we'll need to know some verbs ahead of time. So these are the verbs we commonly use when we want to go about presenting ourselves. So we have the verb être, avoir, habiter, and s'appeler. First of all, let's know the pronouns that we'll be using along with these verbs. So we have je, which means I, tu, which means you. Now, to you, this is used when you're addressing your friends, someone you are very much familiar with, in an informal kind of setting. Then we have il, elle. Il means he, and elle means she. We have nous, which means we. We don't pronounce the last letter, the S. Then we also have vous, which is you as well. It means you as well. This you is used in terms of plural or formal tones. Now, this you will use when you're addressing someone who is older than you, perhaps your boss, or also when you see a group of people, when you are in a group of people. So you say this when you say you in a collective term. Then we have il, which means they. Now, this is they when you mean a group of masculine people, when you mean a group of men or boys. Then you say elle when it is a group of females. Then we also have on. Now this on is, you can use it to say we, or you can use it to say they, because you will see this sometimes in literature. So now let's move on to the conjugation of these verbs. So first we begin with être, which means to be. So it goes like this. Je suis, which means I am. Tu es, you are. Il est, he is. Elle est, she is. On est, we are, they are. Nous sommes, which is we are. Vous êtes, which is you are. Now, you notice that we didn't pronounce the S in vous there. But when you have vous and you have the last letter silent, but then you have a vowel coming beginning the next word, you link the last and the first letters together. So you have vous êtes. So this ils sont, they are. Elles sont, they are. Now ils sont for a group of males. Elles sont for a group of females. Now next verb, avoir, which means to have. So it's, remember we've covered our vowels. So the word is je, but because it is je and then I, and these are both vowels, so you have to take it as a J apostrophe because it is a vowel coming after it. So it is je, tu as, il a, elle a, on a, nous avons. Remember our rule, S, but because there's a vowel beginning the next word, you have to link it. So it goes nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. And this is I have, you have, he has, she has, we have, they have, we have, you have, they have, they have. So next we have habiter, which means to live. That's to live at a particular location. So remember our rule, just like avoir, it will be J apostrophe. So that is j'habite, tu habites, il habite, elle habite, on habite, nous habitons, vous habitez, il habite, elle habite. So these last letters, they are silent in the word. Now the final verb, which is s'appeler, which is to be called by a particular name. It's essentially to say, my name is, I am called by. So probably you have heard je m'appelle before. This is the verb s'appeler. So it is je m'appelle, tu t'appelles, il s'appelle, elle s'appelle, on s'appelle, nous nous appelons, Vous vous appelez. Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle. So we will also link this in our pronunciation. Je m'appelle. Again. Tu t'appelles. Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle. On s'appelle. Nous nous appelons. Vous vous appelez. Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle. So now let's cover the presentation template itself, given that we have already learned the verbs that we will be using. You start with your name. So you want to say your first name and your surname, which is prénom and your nom. So you can be asked what's your name in a various number of ways. So someone might say, comment tu t'appelles? Or comment t'appelles-tu? They are the same thing, it's just the words are switched around. Then you might be asked also, comment vous vous appelez? Quel est ton nom? Or quel est votre nom? They all mean what is your name. So you're going to say in response, je m'appelle. So you say, you could say, je m'appelle Damilola King. Just say your prénom and your nom. Then you could also, if you're speaking on behalf of someone, you could say, elle s'appelle, which is just her name is. Then you could also simply say, mon nom est, which is literally my name is. Next, your age, if you choose to disclose that. So someone might ask you, quel âge as-tu? Which is, how old are you? Or someone might ask about someone, a male person, quel âge as-tu? Now, remember that we conjugated the verb avoir as il, a. But because when you want to switch it around, a is a vowel and il begins with a vowel as well. So you put that T in the middle of it. So you say, quel âge as-tu? How old is he? Or, quel âge avez-vous? How old are you? For an older person in a formal setting. So you can say, j'ai 24 ans. Just say your age. J'ai and your age. Il a 5 ans. He is 5 years old. Then your profession, métier, that's the work you do. So I might say, quelle est ta profession? Quelle est votre profession? Ta is also a pronoun. Ta is you. Votre is also you. That's for your. Now, when you're asked your profession, you will say, je suis, then whatever you do. Now, for words, of course, words have their masculine and female versions. Now, étudiante, that is the female version of student. For a male person, you would say étudiant without the E. So that is a hack. Whenever you see a word and it usually ends in an E, it's usually feminine. But if it's there without the E at the ending, it's usually masculine version. So you say, je suis une étudiante. Now you're going to link it just like we've been learning because it's beginning with a vowel. The next one is beginning with a vowel. So that would be, je suis une étudiante. I'm a student. Je suis une professeur. I'm a teacher. Or if you're saying on behalf of someone, perhaps you say, Marissa est une chanteuse. That is, Marissa is a singer. David est un architecte. That is, David is an architect. Then your nationality. So you can be asked, quelle est ta nationalité? Or if it's someone older, they might say, quelle est votre nationalité? So Nigerian, you say, je suis Nigérian. If it's a female, she's going to say, elle est Nigérian. For someone that's French, you say, François est français. François is French. Nella est congolaise. Nella is Congolese. Lisa est Jamaican. Lisa is Jamaican. So, of course, you're going to have to learn the words really because there are a vast number of nationalities. But this is the templates that you will use, which will help you. Now, if you want to give out where you live, the area you stay, the person is going to ask, où habites-tu? That is, where do you live? Or, où habitez-vous? Now, for saying where you live, you will use 3 different types of prepositions. You have a, o, and on. Now, let's cover them. First, if you want to say the city you live, you will say j'habite à. So now I can say j'habite à Lagos, or nous habitons à Paris. We live in Paris. Il habite à Abidjan. We live in Abidjan. Now, if you want to talk about your country, so some words they go with masculine or feminine pronouns, just like in English. You say the ball, the boy. So you can also, when you want to talk about a country, it's going to have a pronoun going along with it. That is lo or la. So generally, words that end with e, countries that end in e, they are referred to as feminine words. But there are two exceptions to the rule. That's these two countries here. That's Mexico and Mozambique. But otherwise, whenever you see a country that ends with an E, it is feminine. So when you want to talk about masculine countries, you will say O. So it will be j'habite au Nigeria, j'habite au Congo, j'habite au Mexique, j'habite au Mozambique. When you want to talk about feminine countries, it will be un. So that is j'habite en Belgique, il habite en France, vous habitez en Chine. Then when you want to talk about some countries, they are in a plural form. So when you want to say those ones, it will be O, same pronunciation, but with an X. That indicates the plural form. So when you talk about the United States or the UAE, that's United Arab Emirates, it will be il habite aux États-Unis. So you link it together to say aux États-Unis. Aux États-Unis. Il habite aux États-Unis. That's for they live in the United States. Now, if you want to say we live in the United Arab Emirates, it will be nous habitons aux Émirats Arabes Unis. Aux Émirats Arabes Unis. Nous habitons aux Émirats Arabes Unis. Nous habitons aux Émirats Arabes Unis. So there you have it, the format for presentation. So whenever you meet someone new and you want to just give a brief introduction about yourself, you say your name, your age, your profession, nationality, and where you live. Now, of course, you can choose which one you want to disclose, but this is just a general format, and you might be asked questions in a various number of ways, but you definitely have the answer with what we've learned today. So thank you very much for joining me on this class on presentation. I hope it has been very much helpful for you. Goodbye.